Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. Feliz Año Nuevo. Happy New Year 2015. We're here. We have a great show for you in store. Yeah, I've been absent for about a month. Thank you to Cesar for taking over weekly on the Mexican Soccer Show. Did an amazing job with all the guys, the usuals.
You're Carl Coming. I'm Guillermo Ochoa, you know.
And today we're going to have a lot of fun. I want to thank all of you guys that are watching live, are on the chat. Definitely keep asking us questions. We'll be looking at them regularly and trying to answer the best that we can. Today, Tom's not on the show. He's out vacationing in Spain. Lucky him. So he's not on. But who is on is what's important. We'll go to you. First of all, Cesar, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Glad to see that you're back. As fun as it was for me to host the show, I realize it's a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be, and I realize that I thrive in speaking about 15 to 20 seconds maximum, and then just throwing it back to you, like right now.
Yes. It does take some kind of talent. No, thank you again for doing it. We have also had from Soccer Mexicana, Jason Marquez has been on the show for a while. Good to see him. How are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm definitely ready for this dearth of Mexican soccer to end, though. This has been a rough couple weeks here. I watched a lot of NFL playoffs. I could break down the Lions passing game if you want, stuff like that. Or, I don't know if you guys want to talk about LeBron. There's stuff going on there. I don't know. I'm ready for Mexican soccer to kick up again.
Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. Also, yes, my Cardinals, Lions, the Steelers, they're all gone. It's now I get back to the real sports. Watch me get hated on. All right, Naive in Houston, how are you?
Good. We it's been hope that all the viewers had a good Christmas and a good New Year's Eve celebration going on. This past weekend, America played against Monterrey in Houston, and I was able to go and see, a little preamble of what to expect in this new season. Two stacked teams, basically. I think you see all the players that Monterrey has and all the players that America have, and you think that they will certainly be two of the contenders this clausura.
Yes, especially America getting that bicampeón. Good to have you on, Naive, and I see you got a little thing going over there in the chin. Nice, everyone's facial hair looking good, bro. All right, so what do we have in store for you guys today? We'll be talking 2015, the Copa Oro, Copa America. Obviously, what's more important? What should we focus on? Can we focus on both? What teams are we going to bring a little differently? We haven't heard news on what if there will be regulations on Sub-23 kind of a team like last time, or do we bring out all the guns to see who can make it to the Copa Oro and the Copa America? Also, be talking about the Europeos. Lots of action, or should I say not a lot of action, for the players that are going on with Copa del Rey and other competitions in Europa. Also, we'll be touching our top 25. Cesar does an amazing job with FootMex Source, and having a little top 25 Mexican players. We'll be talking and discussing on who is currently at least the top 5 and why it changes. Could change from month to month, and we'll be hearing and talking to many on the chat that is on right now. Have some that are already on. I know. Give a shout out to the Pancho Villa's Army, also always on with especially the Phoenix Battalion with Guelito. Usually text me up before, see what time. So thank you for joining on. But let's get started. Again, you're more welcome to ask us any questions, and we'll be reading them on the air. If it's called the air, it's more the interweb. And of course. Today you will be hearing different types of sounds. We just got this.
We recently found out that we could play sounds, so it's just this show's gonna become completely immature and it's just gonna be irreverent and awful.
It's going to be a problem.
Yes. That's our part of his mother. I guess he's able to do that. So I think actually everyone is. So if you see something crazy, something funny, that's we like to keep it real. We like to keep it fun. For example. But
it's a good look. Is that what you're rocking in Costa Rica?
Yes, I was. I was definitely snorkeling over there. All right, so let's get started. 2015. First, I think we should talk about the calendar already. If you if you didn't see, especially tweets from the FMF, from the suits, already have some games that are in store in coming up in March. No January, February games yet. A little odd. Usually we have at least a February game. It used to be against the U.S. I think we had it running for a while. Now we don't have a February. I think it's because of the FIFA match starts in March. There's only 2 real FIFA matches. I mean FIFA dates in the whole calendar between now and the Copa America, Copa Oro. So, but that doesn't mean that we won't have friendlies because of the wonderful relationship we have with Soccer United Marketing, with the Partidos Moleros, like people like to call it. So, let's talk about the calendar. What do we have, Cesar? I know that you were looking at the official calendar on FIFA and have that. What are there? I know there's rumors. Naib was talking about there's some rumors also. So let's get it down. What are the confirmed dates where Mexico will be playing? Hopefully in the United States, maybe somewhere else. Cesar, take it away.
So as of now, the only friendly that's confirmed within the next couple months is Mexico versus Paraguay in Kansas City on March 31st. That should definitely be an interesting one. There's a few players from Paraguay that showed up recently that have played in Liga MX, and most noticeably, there's a few players from Toluca, that have represented Paraguay in the past. And actually, I know Roque Santa Cruz, who recently moved to Cruz Azul, so that he might, interesting for Jason over there. But but and then we have a game.
I think I mean look at the Paraguay. It's not the same Paraguay we had. I think we've played many times. I can remember. I think we lost against them in the Estadio Azteca. Just a friendly. So looking at that competition, not the best Paraguay of its years, correct?
Yeah, and I think they finished last in World Cup qualifying in the CONMEBOL recently. So they don't have the strongest team, but they're still. It's very competitive down there in South America. So it's not like it's going to be an easy game. But who knows who they'll call up. And then in April 15th. There's yet to be a confirmed location. There's rumors about where it will be at, but Mexico will be taking on the U.S., so that's something to look forward to. Did we just cheer on the USA right now?
Is it really something to look forward to? Naive, Jason, getting the U.S. again, even though we'll probably face them. The Copa Oro, is this something that we have to see every year just because of the rivalry to keep alive, Naive?
I think the rivalry with the U.S. I think we know what's behind it. You said in the beginning we saw with Zoom and the deal. Those games are going to get packed. The stadium's going to be filled. But the conclusions are not that. If I can remember the last one I think was in Phoenix before the World Cup. There was one good half from the U.S. and then another good half from Mexico, kind of split in half. But you want to see the U.S.-Mexico rivalry and in a real match that counts, and that usually is going to happen when we'll have to fight for this Gold Cup or maybe a Confederations Cup ticket if Mexico wins this edition of the Gold Cup. And the friendly, there's not that many conclusions you're going to take out from a Mexico-U.S. match, apart from the heated battles that they're going to be on the pitch. With Paraguay, it's a team in construction. Ramon Diaz, who coached in America and did a horrible job, is now the new coach of Paraguay. There's maybe more to see in that kind of game because the competition it could be foreign. It's a new coach, new ideas to Paraguay, and Paraguay has a lot of good players.
Definitely. All right. Obviously, with the U.S., it's that heated rivalry. Looking at the calendar, I guess is it a FIFA date, Cesar? Looking at it, or is it just scheduled as a friendly? Do you know?
I'm not entirely sure, actually. I still don't know. Like I said, I don't know where the location's going to be at. But yeah, I don't know if it's a FIFA date or not.
I think the March games are going to be the games in which Piojo Herrera will be able to call the players from Europe, and the ones in April, I think it's going to be Liga MX players.
Liga MX players. So there you go. Already not being a FIFA match, not being a FIFA date. I'm sorry. Having the U.S. versus Mexico is kind of, I don't know. I don't see that being the best choice. But at the same time, it always makes it an exciting rivalry how we'll do that.
Yeah.
So
might be the best considering the situation. right? Because you have, it might be the best considering the situation, considering you have, if you're not calling Europeans, it's an easy match and it's decent competition. So, and you have like all the players are going to be up for it. So in that regard, it's a good choice.
Now I guess and also for the traveling. I mean, it's not like you have a team that's coming in that's super tired or coming in or from South Africa or something like that. So good point. Good point, Jason.
And especially since we need to look at a bunch of, I would say, especially since we need to look at a ridiculous amount of players for the 2 summer tournaments we're going to have. I was going to say next year, but it's actually this year. So it'd probably be pretty good for us to try out some new players, within that friendly.
Yes. Trying the new players. What else do we have? I know we have those other rumors in other countries that have been thrown about. A lot of South American competition, which is great. Not to say the least any other in other conference, but looking to see. We already have Paraguay, but I hear Colombia also being one of those rumors that are coming in. Anything else that you guys have heard with Mexico coming in?
I think if the opponent, in the March days is a Colombia or an Uruguay, for example, I think that's a difference than per se a Peru or Bolivia, like it was, back in late 2014. I think Mexico played Bolivia and Denver, and I think if the team is Colombia, there's a good chance to see good competition there. I mean, Colombia right now, it's considered one of the favorites to win the Copa America in 2015. And to have a competition with that type of opponent will be important. Let's just remember the game against Chile. Chile will be another candidate to win this Copa America, and it was a great game from start to finish.
Definitely. I mean, looking at the South American sides, aside from the big 2, Brazil and Argentina, I mean, Colombia having a great team, also with Uruguay always having those players. But great segue in there. Well, before we go, any other games that have been scheduled aside from the Copa Oro, Copa America?
No, that's it. I hope to see some more games. I highly doubt we'll be having more European friendlies. I think that was good for us last time around, but you never know. But I think as of now, it seems like we've got a few games in hand that we have with Soccer United marketing, so we'll probably see a few more friendlies in the United States, but other than that, I'm not entirely sure.
Yes. Well, I mean, you mentioned Soccer United marketing. It's funny because I haven't heard an actual contract be released out for however many years, because I knew it was expiring last year with Soccer United marketing, so I haven't heard that.
I think I might have misheard something. I'm pretty sure I heard that we renew the contract, but once again, we don't know for how much. I have no clue.
Yeah, I think I saw that too.
Yeah.
Usually
I think
if I'm not years.
Yeah.
What was
If I'm not mistaken, after the friendlies in Europe in Amsterdam and Borisov, I think Iñárritu flew to New York to plan out the new contract with Zoom. And then, because I remember the team didn't come complete, I think it was just Piojo who came back in Mexico City. Not even Piojo came back to Mexico City because he had to go to the summit in Chile because of the draw of the Copa America. So so I think that somewhere around that time something happened, but we haven't seen the numbers.
I'm sure there was an exchange of like a comical bag of money, like a giant sack with like a dollar sign on the side, and you're like.
When I'm looking for transparency in numbers, I normally go to the FMF and MLS. Like the people are going to tell you everything about numbers, so don't worry about it. We'll find out eventually, right?
All right, so we'll move on. Obviously, with the.
Go for Jason. I like this stuff. It's not a competition. I don't know why I suddenly made this a competition.
With the schedule, great segue to go into obviously 2015 Copa America and the Copa Oro. For some of you who don't know, Copa America, we're always invited. Money talks, viewership, all the different sponsors that go in. This is why, regardless of what team we're going to bring, the CONMEBOL is always going to have Mexico there for the viewership and all the sponsors that bring in. So we're always invited. And obviously the Copa Oro. So this debate is always, sparking a controversy. Where do we send our team? I like to kind of add and maybe point out, we've sent competitive teams to both before. I think for those of you that remember, after 2010 and 2011, with what happened, sending a team that was, if you look at it, our Olympic team almost, going in and what happened and what they did, and pretty much losing all the games. I think they lost all 3 games. I remember just kind of erasing it from my mind. But if you're looking back before that, that Copa America where, this guy over here, Neri Castillo, if you remember 2007, and by the way, I didn't just put him out for no reason. I'm selling this shirt. I don't think we'll be needing it anymore. It is signed by him when I got to meet him. Anyway, 2007. I think we can have 2 competitive teams. Maybe not 2 teams that are going to win both, but at the same time, not segregating and sending another coach, because from what I hear, Piojo does want to be competitive in both. So I asked you guys, Cesar, Naive, Jason, can we have 2 competitive teams, first of all?
Yes, I think so. I don't understand the 2 separate teams argument and why that's really needed. I mean, I think you have a decent size. I think you have a lot of fluctuation in some of those positions where you can maybe like designate, okay, like these 2 strikers are going to like be our main guys this time, like they're going to get the majority of the starts going to this tournament, and have like a general plan going forward. But I mean, you have like a little bit of fluctuation in those lineups where our roster is kind of built out. Like we have, I think at this point now we have more like guys that are definitely like keyed into El Tri, where you can see them like kind of being in or out of the lineup on the bench. There's a lot of debate to be had. So have like an idea of like who our main 11 is going to be, and maybe that like switches where like 5 or 6 kind of rotate in or out of that. But I mean, I think it would be more important to have like a core where you're going to have like, okay, these 4 guys are going to be starting in both tournaments just because it makes sense, because they're like the backbone of our team, whoever that might be. I'm not sure I can totally answer that, but having some consistency makes sense to me, at least.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what happened in 2007. I know some of the Europeos they chose not to go, and that's where my question is that we've heard that, because the Copa America is not our tournament, I think a lot of the teams really do release their players, and maybe the players don't want to go. For example, I remember Pardo and Osorio, they were able to go. They chose not to because, vacation or for whatever reason, and that's when Hugo Sanchez was able to bring other players, if you guys remember. So, Cesar and Naive, same question to you guys. Are you on the same way? Can we have 2? I ask you, Cesar, 2 defenses. Do we have enough for 2 defenses, or do we have enough for them to, or at least the back point, just like Jason?
That's what I was going to bring up, is I think we have plenty of depth in our attack. I think my only worry is in our defense, and maybe that's just because of the injury to Moreno, and because of Rafa not playing recently, and because Reyes, just not getting that much time recently. That might have been a problem, and maybe that's why I feel like we've been using backups to backups. But maybe within the next few friendlies, we'll see if certain players like Alanis can step up, and see if he can take a certain role in the squad. But there are still definite worries of defense. I think in the attack, though, I think we're fine in the attack. I think we have plenty of depth, and I think we could have a starting 11, maybe a strong starting 11 in the Gold Cup, and perhaps we could send some of those backup players like. Or perhaps even someone like Aquino. Aquino, I think, would do really well. I think it would be better for him to go in the Copa America, and we could still have those kinds of players for the Copa America. So it isn't just an A squad and a B squad, but like Jason was mentioning, we could have a core, but also send a few of those strong backup players to the Copa America.
And also something that we've already known, for example, in the last World Cup, the last Copa America, CONCACAF had already sent out a communication that we were going to have a young team going with a couple of the senior side. That hasn't happened yet, so I think we're able to bring the teams that we can. It's not going to be, the young guys going in like it did last time. Jonathan Dos Santos will finally, I think, will be able to play in Copa America, not like last time with what happened with Quito and all the ladies of the night.
Ladies of the night. It's funny how relevant Ladies of the Night is on every show.
The ladies of the night. But I think I should, like we were saying, I think we have a chance to make history, especially with I think how Piojo, I think, is a different type. You know, he will risk it. He will try to will try to win everything. But at least I've asked this question before. Don't know if it's changed. You know, what do we need to win Copa Oro, Copa America?
I mean, just to start a little bit with what the points that Cesar and Jason gave about the two teams and the two tournaments. I mean, I think Mexico does have, you know, the 46 players like Herrera has been talking a lot about since I think 3 months ago or so. You know, it's just about the certain details that have to happen. You know, I think when you see it, Piojo will go all or nothing for the Gold Cup, that's for sure. You know, and it could be the case that the starting 11 that we saw in the Netherlands, including, you know, other players like Rafa Marquez or Massa Rodriguez, could be added to the mix, and that is like the solid core of what the national team is right now.
Rafa Marquez,
you know,
in your opinion,
and for the Gold Cup, I'll still put him as a viable option because of the fact that Moreno hasn't been playing that much this season. Reyes hasn't even seen that much minutes as well. So you still have to consider him, even though he's 37 and he's playing in Verona and he's on the back end of his career. But there's not that many defenders. You know, one of the things that I want to point out with the 46 players is it will be important to see a team like Chivas improve this season. Because a team like Chivas that has 11 starters, and if some of their players like Nestor Vidrio can pick up this game, Edgardo Marin, you know, Cubo Torres being sharp on goal, you know, those are the players that could probably form that 23-man squad in the Copa America. You know, then you think about Pablo Barrera maybe recuperating a little bit more form.
Pablo
and some Europeos.
Conversation again.
Saying Chivas take the Copa America, you know, just I don't know. You're reaching there.
No. But I mean, it's observation. I mean, I think we have to admit. I mean, there's 46 players, and I don't think Mexico has that much players. I mean, they don't have 80 great players. I mean, I think they're just gonna be on the line, but I think they still have a good team to form for the Copa America and compete. You know, maybe get out of the group stage or something. But you know, it's gonna be important to see players that did not shine that much in this Apertura, and see if they can recuperate form. Like Conejito Brizuela was not the player that was before the World Cup. You know, if Brizuela improves, that's a good player to have for a Copa America.
The same thing. Carlos Peña too is another player you can throw into the mix right there. It's like someone who had an extreme amount of potential, and then after the World Cup, maybe it had something to do with Luis Montes' injury, but just kind of went down. Actually, that's important to bring up is Luis Montes too. I forgot about him. Yeah,
that's right.
I was about to say that. You know, you got the Vasquez, Montes, and Peña, you know, trio where, you know, especially Peña cannot play without Luis. I feel I think it'd be interesting to see Carlos Peña coming back and Luis Montes. I feel like, just like you said, Naive, you know, getting those players that really didn't do well last year, those suplentes from the World Cup, we do, and then seeing who we're going to take for the Europeos. Not to mention, you know, if Copa Oro is our main and they'll let us go, I mean, Carlos Vela, you know, coming back to the Copa Oro, which the last time he was in it, he was champion.
Yeah, I mean, and it also depends. I think Piojo Herrera is going to make another one of those European tours he did in 2014 before the World Cup and meet up with the players. I don't know if players are going to actually have a say if they want to play Copa America or if they want to play Gold Cup. I mean, of course, Piojo wants to take his best players. But let's say if one player in particular could have, well, I want to play against the Jameses, I want to play against Lionel Messi's. No, that could be some type of debate that could happen. I mean, I don't know if it will, but it could.
Yeah, do you think any of our players from, like, do you think like a Carlos Vela or Chicharito or Raúl Jiménez would actually say that? Or because for some others, I just assumed that they would have no problem with going to the Gold Cup, especially since
The Gold Cup is a must. I mean, they have no choice. Either you come to the Gold Cup, that's going to have to be. I think the extra is we want you to come to the Copa America, and I think that's where maybe they do have a say in a yes or no. We've seen Europeos say, you know what, it's been a long summer, and then here comes again the fall with, starting with the team, or they want to focus on their team to be out the off season. I think that's where the Europeos get a little bit more of a say for the Copa America, but yet I think the only ones that I might think that might not want to do would be, yes, Carlos Vela, maybe a Chicharito, and that's pretty much I mean, I don't see anybody else being like, no, I think I'm going to focus on my team because they're, not playing a lot in their team, or it's not like they're solely needed there.
I'm not sure when the Gold Cup have to be in, but I imagine, the reality is that the Gold Cup will probably have the roster for the Gold Cup will probably have be dramatically changed based on what happens in Copa America. Like you could see some players really taking off, having a good tournament, being shimmied onto the next tournament just because of that and being incorporated, or vice versa. It's a complete nightmare, and then we clean house and start fresh in the Gold Cup. You could see it. I could see a scenario where it really one has an effect on the other.
Well, what I like this year is that the Copa America is before the Gold Cup. If you remember, the Gold Cup was first. Yeah, we win that, or we get to the final, and they're like, okay, well, I'm out. This one, I really think that if we have a team that's played in the Copa America, and then whatever happens, they're actually together, and then finally in the Gold Cup coming in that tournament. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm actually surprised that we haven't heard a lot from what's going to happen with from Piojo and Iñárritu and everyone regarding the Gold Cup and the Copa America.
All I care about is that we make it to the second round in the Copa America, because it'd be pretty embarrassing. I mean, I know it's South America, but there's 12 teams competing and 8 make it to the playoffs. Like,
it would be. I mean, that's actually a great. What I wanted to kind of know the segment is, when does Piojo not lose his job? I mean, what does he have to do to keep his job? Pretty much with the Copa America, getting out of the group stages. I actually think if even he doesn't get out of the group stages, changing so quickly because of the time to the Copa Oro, I think will be there. But assessing, even though he does have a contract to 2018, getting to the finals in Copa Oro at least and winning it is obviously what we want, and at least a semifinal or quarterfinal appearance at the Copa America.
Yeah, I think in order for him to keep his job, I think he at least has to make it into the second round of the Copa America, and at the very least, I think at least the final, the Copa de Oro, the Gold Cup. Yeah, I think at the very least, I think anything, even just the second place finish of the Gold Cup, I think is a failure, to be honest.
That means we have no chance of going to the Copa Confederaciones, which
and even if we do win, we then have to play the U.S. in a playoff game, and I don't know when that would be set, but
that's a home and away kind of 2-leg thing.
Is it a 2-leg thing? I don't remember the exact details.
No way you're gonna be able to keep that neutral. It's not like they're gonna go to Canada or.
That'd be pretty great. It's like you have to play in Antarctica.
You have to go. I think it is a 2-leg thing. Might have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it is. Let's take a stop right there. Kind of look at the chats. If you guys are on, let's see what is happening with the chats. Thank again all of you guys that are on. Guelito, Junior Peña, Fabio Gutierrez, kind of discussing different things. And shout out to Ordinary Orange fan Steven.
He says he's going to contribute to next month's version of the Top 25, by the way. He confirmed with me. It's a contract that he just signed on Twitter. He isn't aware of it, but it's a contract now, Steven.
Steven, great guy. Usually does one of the best recaps in English for Pumas, in Pumas English blog. If you're a big Pumas fan, not El Puma fan, but Pumas fan. Well, actually, if you're right. You can do that. Oh, there it is. All right, let's go with the chats. A couple of questions. We'll try to refrain from some questions that we do have some time for at the end if they don't have to do anything with what we're talking about. But a lot of Jürgen Damm talk, so we have to mention his name. But and a lot of Morena talk. So any other questions you got there?
I think if we're going to talk about Jurgen Damm, I think once again talking about like the depth of the squad and whatnot. I think there are certain young players who need to step up like immediately once the season starts. I think Jurgen Damm is one of those players. I think other players like Irving Lozano. I think let's see, like I think I wrote some of them down, like Güemes. I think Escobosa, Ponchito. I think they have the potential to make a difference, like in the national team. And if they want to be considered for either the squads, maybe even the Copa America squad, they're going to need to have, as I mentioned, an immediate impact in the league. But look, and they're not even the only ones. It's a number of young players right now who have the potential to transcend, just being, just an option to being like an actual consideration for the national team. So I would put him under that.
The problem with a lot of these young guys is there's just not going to be a lot of time there's just not many national team games like where they could come in. Like they're going to have like at best a one-shot deal, like prove yourself in this one game to see if you're ready, and like that kind of situation never works out too well. So I mean that's the big concern, like because like a lot of these guys that Cesar just mentioned are absolutely ready. Like we should be training these guys, getting them into the national team. Like they are of that quality, but the problem is like there's so little time to really truly incorporate them in the team, especially with like kind of like the high stakes, especially with the Gold Cup coming up.
Good to see it, especially with the young players. Great point, Jason. Looking at other questions or banter, Shade E Derp. Mexico to become Colombia of the 90s, beat every good team prior to World Cup, then proceed to get knocked out in the group stage in Russia. I think there's a lot of stuff that was happening in that Colombia of the 90s, especially when they were one of the best teams in the world. Great documentary for Escobar, the two Escobars, if you have never seen it, recommended on ESPN 3430. But I don't see it, not because we can't get knocked out, but because I don't think we'll beat everybody, pretty much winning everything we can.
I'm predicting a round of 16 finish.
I hope not.
Oh, no.
I'll be hopefully traveling over there and hopefully see many of you guys, but at the same time, that's partido, of course.
I'll be over there. I'll have a bigger beard by that point. Maybe a bigger belly, too. I don't know. We'll see.
Nice. Starting the Russian classes now.
Actually, a little off topic. Actually, I was a little inspired. I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn Russian. I'm going to go there. And I downloaded this podcast, and I gave up after 5 minutes. I'm not going to lie. Maybe I'm not a very hardworking person. Maybe I need to be a little bit...
Russian.
Yeah, I downloaded this podcast. It was like a spoonful of Russian because you're supposed to take a spoonful every day. But I gave up on it completely. I'm gonna have to revisit it, but we'll see.
It's funny you mentioned that because today I was looking at Duolingo and they don't have any Russian on there.
Yeah, Duolingo has no Russian. Yeah.
I know. It's like we planned this. They don't have Russian, so I started looking at French, and that's actually a pretty cool site. But endorsements.
French. You're gonna speak French in Russia?
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about the players. Let's talk about the Europeos as of this year. Kind of moving forward and switching into, we talked about, some of the Europeos seeing if they're going to be able to make it to the Copa America. But all of you are experts, especially Naive and Cesar, with what's happening with the Europeos. If you can name one of the Europeos that's going to have the best season, aside from Carlos Vela, who would that be?
I think my
you go
easy.
first.
Oh, thank you. If I could have click the little applause, I would right now. But I would say it's an easy answer, but I would say Tecatito. The guy's been on fire.
Dude, his goals. Scoring, yeah. I mean,
and his assist as well. And right now, I don't know if you guys use a website like Who Scored, but it's a great website to see stats for a lot of European games. I really wish one day they could do some stuff for Liga MX because it's really user friendly to be able to find stuff for stats and possession of the ball, blah blah blah. But right now, Tecatito is the highest rated player on 20 right now this season, and I definitely believe he's going to continue to get better for that squad.
Nice. Applause to that. All right. We'll go with you, Jason. Aside from Bella.
I take one European player at this point. I don't know. I still like. I'm still on the Hector Herrera. Like I want to watch everything he does. I want to. I want to just I'm all about him. I want to buy his stock. Like I think he is like the player that Mexico needs to pin most of their hopes to, because he is just that talented of a player and that much potential to grow upon what he is right now. I don't know, like I really like I'm excited about Tecatito. But like people score a lot of goals when they go to the Dutch leagues. I mean, look at we go back to the U.S. Like, look at all those goals Josie Altidore was pouring when he was in the Dutch leagues, and like when he leaves and it's over. Like, I don't know. I'm excited about Tecatito, but like for me, he's still got a long way to go.
That's true, and I guess there is. I mean, we've talked about it, but he definitely didn't have the best relationship with the team during the most recent summer. It's he showed up overweight. He's had a problem with management. So who knows if he could fall back into that? Although he did say recently that he feels more mature, and I hope he does continue to feel that, where he is a more mature person and he takes his his talents more seriously. But it's a good point. You never know with Tecatito.
Speaking of Tecatito, I'm sporting Tecatito's hairdo today. Just, Naive.
Yeah, and then just to I mean, but there's been good cases in the Eredivisie too. I mean, Luis Suarez played in Groningen and then he went to Ajax, and look what he is today. I mean, apart from the incidents that he's had, he's a great player. I mean,
look who he is today.
It depends on the player, how he takes his career or whatever. I mean, but like prudence. I mean, it's just been a couple of months, and it's been all right, but it's still a long ways to go for Tecatito. But I think the two players that were mentioned, Herrera and Tecatito, have been the bright notes so far. And just to add another name, I'd say Jonathan Dos Santos. I think Jonathan, considering all what he's gone through, actually playing now and showing what he's learned in La Masia, it benefits the national team, because there's not that many central defensive midfielders that are able to pass the ball around like Jonathan. And we'll see how Villarreal does. Villarreal is in a good run so far in La Liga, and in Europa League they're playing against Salzburg, the Red Bull team. And I think that they have a chance to keep advancing in Europa League, and now Giovanni is healthy as well, so the Jonathan and Giovanni duo will have lots of minutes to play together.
And they're going to play against Real Sociedad this Wednesday in the Copa del Rey.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be fascinating to watch. I can imagine so many Mexican fans are going to be watching that game on Wednesday, and just the Carlos Vela versus the Dos Santos brothers.
Is Gio back fully?
Yeah. He's healthy.
Did he play did he play last weekend? Saturday?
Yeah. He played against Elche. He came in the second half. I mean, still not 100%, I'd say, but at least as long as he can stay away from those muscle injuries he tends to have, he's in good shape. I mean, we'll see what Villarreal thinks if they want to take the Copa del Rey seriously. But if Jonathan and Giovanni start on the bench, I'm pretty sure they're going to be starters in Copa del Rey this week.
Good to hear. I would have to. Hector Herrera is just everywhere. I know that it is the Dutch league, but at the same time, the Dutch league, the Portuguese league, but at the same time, I mean, what he's doing and just taking the team and the fans and in Porto. I mean, a lot of players have come out of Porto, and I think there's already a cap for him. I mean, looking at how much he's worth on the transfer market, I mean, it's in the 30s. 30 million, so I think it's going to be an exciting year for Hector Herrera. The only thing that I would advise is I think he just needs to grow a little bit more in his decision. I think sometimes he just has some kind of crazy, or he's a little bit out there. Does remind me of everybody, not only physically, but just in the way that he plays. He's just, atrevido, that we like to call it. So should be fun year for him to see. hopefully, I don't want to ask, the biggest flops, but at the same time, for the year in 2015, again, will we see Memo Ochoa leaving? Will we see Chicharito leaving? And even now, Raúl Jiménez, from what many are saying, bad timing for El Niño, who is not El Niño anymore, Fernando Torres, coming back to Atletico. Naive, I know you follow Atletico very well. What's the situation with Raúl?
I mean, I think when one thing that I want to point out is don't be surprised if Raúl Jiménez starts against Real Madrid on Wednesday. That's the situation that Raúl Jiménez lives. It's totally unexpected right now. You might think that Niño Torres is back. Well, that means Raúl Jiménez is out of the picture. I think there's still possibilities that Raúl Jiménez will have certain minutes. I mean, to be a starter, it will be difficult. I mean, you see Antoine Griezmann scoring 5 goals in the past 2 Liga games, and you see that Griezmann is becoming a sure starter. Well, who will be the player that might be battling for a starting spot? I think that player now is going to be Mario Mandzukic, and in that battle for that spot, Raúl Jiménez will be included. Of course, it's Niño Torres. Niño Torres is the prodigious kid from Atletico Madrid's youth system, and
Who
it's
hasn't done
this
anything since
since Liverpool basically, and Jason
2009?
can attest to that. How those Liverpool days, how he was spectacular, but since then it was over.
Even in the 2010 World Cup, Niño Torres didn't show up.
Yeah, and we're talking about whether that's 5 years ago. So I mean, yes, it's special for Atletico Madrid fans. It's really special to have Niño Torres back because of all the, he was a captain at 18 years old, if I'm not mistaken, in the first team. So, and it's a player that Cholo Simeone wanted in his team. But I still think Raúl Jiménez will compete for playing time. I don't want to totally move him out of the picture like a lot of analysts are doing already. That's saying, oh well, the 3 forwards are Griezmann, Mandzukic, and Torres, and they sort of put Raúl Jiménez on the side. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, don't be surprised if Raúl Jiménez starts on Wednesday against Real Madrid and Copa del Rey.
And especially since I think Atletico Madrid take on Barcelona this Sunday, right? So they might want to save some. They might want to save some of their better players too, or some of their stronger players for Sunday. So I think that makes even more of an argument that Raúl Jiménez will get some more playing time in the next game.
So they have Real Madrid for the Copa del Rey.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. Need him and then put him in, and it has Barcelona of what's happening. So.
Well, the thing, I think if you ask Atletico Madrid fans, if there's 3 competitions, the Copa del Rey, La Liga, and the Champions, which cup would you take out of the picture immediately? Let's say Copa del Rey, because I think they have this sensation that they were so close of winning the Champions League. It was just seconds away from winning it. That, what matters to them is trying to go for the Champions League again. So the quicker they can get out of the Copa del Rey, we'll be all right with the fans.
What I'm wondering is, Jason, you as a Liverpool fan, what are your thoughts on Torres going back to Atletico Madrid? I know, he was at his heyday with Liverpool, right. But I feel like he hasn't really done much. And to be honest, I wouldn't be too surprised if he doesn't do anything for Atletico Madrid when he comes.
There's still a special place in my heart for him. Like the Chelsea case, but I think it's good that he's going home.
Did I say Chelsea?
It's good for him. He's going somewhere where he's going to be unconditionally loved. He seems like a bit of the mental side is important with him, I think, and I'm speculating obviously, but I'm glad he's going back there. I'm not concerned about Raúl. Like I feel like he's young and he's in a great place to learn, and ideally, if he has to sit out and see some bench time, he's on the right team to do it with, and it's the right time of the calendar for the national team where we don't need him playing right now all the time. Like he's in a great spot. He just got to the team not that long ago. So, I could see in some ways where Atletico is bringing him in, like they want him to contribute, but is he going to be a guy that they're looking at next season? And maybe hopefully the following season. Yeah. And I don't think that's a problem. I think that's okay for him because he's in a great spot. I mean, there's extremely tough competition in his position. That's okay because he's extremely talented and he's still He's still like 23 years old, so
Yeah, 23.
it's not a big worry at this point, I don't think.
I don't know, guys. I'm kind of a little worried that he hasn't done it really anything goals-wise, doing anything. I mean,
Well, he scored a goal. He scored a goal.
we were talking
I mean,
last year,
plural.
in the first 3 weeks. Hey, it takes a while to get the rhythm. Well, now, I mean, I think this is it. This is where he comes in because it's not like they're going to keep him if he's not doing well. So I figure that I think the Torres move is great. Now, I don't know. Maybe I do feel that it's him, being slow at the game, not making the best choices, and hopefully this will motivate him and knowing that, hey, here's another one that I have to beat or really show up. And how much more does Raul have if he doesn't show up with one of the best teams in Europe?
If they let him go, they're going to be making a mistake. Like, they'll be making a mistake. It'll be on them because he's going to prosper somewhere.
Yeah.
There
you go.
It's going to take that time, though. Switching over Chicharito, recent news today actually saying that coming out that Manchester United will not take back Chicharito regardless if Real Madrid doesn't buy him or not. Also, Ancelotti saying that the plans are to keep Chicharito for this season and looking for the next. Do you see Cesar or Naive? Do you see Chicharito moving? If so, not back to Manchester United. Where's your ideal team? Or keep doing what he's doing as Chicharito, knowing as that super sub.
I think ideally, obviously, I'd want him to get more playing time. So I think I'd want him to go perhaps in a La Liga team that's more mid-table. But I could also say, like, who wouldn't want Chicharito on their team? He still has a pretty good conversion rate. And if we're talking... excellent point. Excellent point. But he still has an excellent conversion rate. And, even in the Copa del Rey, I think he had a goal and 2 assists in the last 2 games. And granted, it was against, I think, Cornellà, which isn't a La Liga team. Yeah, but he's still definitely an excellent player. I still think that Real Madrid is going to take him. Maybe they won't take him for too much money at the end of the season. But I think ideally for me as a fan of him, I would rather have him go to somewhere mid-table. But as I mentioned, other than maybe Manchester United, I think a lot of teams would seldom turn down Chicharito.
A team that can offer him minutes. I think a team where he can consolidate himself as a starter in Europe. Take that tag away of being a super sub. I think that's the step that Chicharito wants in his career. He said it himself. He's tired of being called this super sub. And in Real Madrid, that's exactly what he is. He's a sub. I don't see him being a starter in these next months unless something happens to Benzema, or even now that Jesse is back. It looks like Jesse will have more of a priority in Carleto's lineup than Chicharito. Any team in Europe knows already his resume pretty well. He knows what Chicharito can offer. He's a poacher inside the box. If they get to the price, they'll probably snatch him. I said it this summer. I want to see Chicharito in Bundesliga. I think Bundesliga is this exciting league up and going where he will play every weekend and be a starter, and who knows what, maybe be one of the top goal scorers in the Bundesliga. I think Mexicans do well in the Bundesliga, and Chicharito's well and ready to be there. And you can say that Chicharito should be in like a Valencia or like a Juventus or like a Milan, a big team. But I think Chicharito just has to be in a European club where he will have minutes every weekend.
Fast forward to the end of this year, Chicharito's at Bayern Munich. All right, moving on.
Disaster.
I don't blame him for going to Real Madrid, though. I don't blame him. I think that's a once in a lifetime.
No, of course. I'm saying that, but you can just see Chicharito making the rounds at the best football clubs in the world.
Just their mascot go out and wave to everybody.
Everybody wants a piece. These huge clubs where having to see that. On the bright side, Benzema hasn't looked the greatest. I didn't see him play. I was watching the whole game. So
He's still a great player.
Yeah. No chance for Chicharito.
Yeah,
No chance.
guys, don't
It's not
worry.
happening.
He didn't look his best.
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
glad he was Chicharito was subbed in that game against Valencia down to 1. I thought it should have been done a long time. Chicharito looking like Chicharito, Cristiano, and I think looking for him many times. So
Yeah.
that's great to see him play. All right. Any honorable mentions? Obviously, Giovanni getting healthier. Layun now don't know what's going on with with what happened with Layun. Did he know it was going to be? I don't know. Does anybody know if that when he went over to that club and they're like, all right, here you go, we're going to ship you out. We don't need you. What was happening with that? Naive or Cesar or Jason?
Well, I guess
Well,
it's like the ownership group is controlling these different teams. So I guess I'm not sure exactly how the deal went down, but you'd have to imagine there was some knowledge of what was going to happen. But
I just don't see Layun really being that desperate to be like, yeah, and I'm going to go loaned out to that type of team.
It's the same owner who I can't believe I want to say Udinese. Out of someone tell me if I'm right.
Yeah.
Udinese and the same owner as Watford, is same owner as Granada. And I guess what this owner does and what I've read is that he's trying to slowly build up all these teams, and right now his project is trying to build up Watford little by little. So it isn't too atypical for him to get players signed for Watford, signed for Udinese, and then send him on loan to Watford. So I think if he does well, and in Watford right now I think they're in like 5th or 6th place, so they have an opportunity. Yeah, if the 5th place, if they continue to do well, Layun could possibly play in the English Premier League next season, which I think would be fantastic. But if he does well too, there's always a chance for him to go to Udinese or back to Granada. So I think that's just it seems kind of terrible at first, like what is he doing in Watford? But I think it's going to give him an opportunity to go to other squads.
But he could have gone to a English Premier League team, like away, mid to. I mean, if he really wanted to be in the EPL, I really think there would be some kind of teams. I don't know. I don't see Layun going, all right, I'm going to go here, and yeah, or prior knowledge, but at the same time, yes, I think he could have gone to a bad English Premier team out there instead of waiting to go this way to play for the EPL. I don't know. I feel I don't know. For me, it's a fail. For me, it's horrible for him.
I think it's still a step up, though. I think you can make the argument.
Really?
Maybe a lot of people won't agree with me, but I think the Championship in England could be on par, if not a little better than the Liga MX.
No, I don't know. I don't choose. I don't, even the EPL times. How many teams are in the EPL?
How many, Jason?
I mean, there's a lot of them.
We can look at EPL standings.
The championship. I think the championship has 24 teams because I was like looking a little bit at the table today. I mean, but the thing with Layun, first he has an EU passport, so he can play wherever the heck he wants in Europe.
Exactly.
The second, when I see the deal, when I read the deal at first, I saw some type of like, well, at these 3 teams, I think Layun has a shot at starting. But then I remember about Ochoa when he signed with Malaga, and I was like, there's a good shot he's gonna start.
Always be cautious.
Yeah. So the thing right now with Layun is the deal doesn't look spectacular. Does not look spectacular at all. But if he does play, I think it's a good deal for him. I mean, I think if he helps Watford from the Championship to the Premier League, that'd be excellent news. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think if this whole deal with the Pozo family, who owns the 3 teams in Europe, it's so strange because in Granada you have players that are owned by Udinese. That's what the contract says. And here, for example, you have Layun, who's owned by Granada, but he's going to play for Watford. I mean, the Pozo family will make a lot of money if Watford goes to the Premier League with all these TV rights and stuff that's going on. Right now, Granada could use of a player like Layun, for sure, because they have a terrible, terrible left back. But there's more money in Watford because if Watford goes to the Premier League, there's more TV rights. If Granada, which is not looking so good right now, Granada could actually go to the 2nd division in Spain. There's not that many win-win situations. So I consider Layun signing for the Pozo FC team because he really doesn't have a team in Europe right now. He could go to Udinese, he could go to Watford, depending where the Pozo family sees his playing more susceptible.
I just don't think he liked Matosas, and he's like, I'm out. I mean, again, that's my little theory because looking at the English Premier League, Lancaster City, Burnley, Crystal Palace, West Brom. I don't even know this team, QPR. Like,
I didn't know who QPR is.
That's like a bottom five, dude. And all those are above Watford plus 5 more. Like, that's where he's going. I mean, Santiago Nunez, I mean, I know started from a bottom team, but anyways, I'm a little upset about Miguel Layun. Don't know if anyone else, but all right, guys. It's a great show. Obviously, talking with the schedules, and we're looking forward to. Before we go, mentioning our top 25. Cesar has this awesome top 25 Mexican players. It gets a little bit crazy. People trying to get these top 25 because here's my thing. Are we doing top 25? So, of all time, we're doing it right now, but some of them didn't play. How is Tecatito over this guy? How is?
I'm not going to consider Hugo Sanchez Tecatito.
Where is he in the top 25?
Probably 27.
So give us your of what your what's going on with the top 25. I think a lot of people want to know.
So the top 25, it's just completely subjective. And what I want to be is, I've asked a bunch of my my writer friends, my friends who are El Tri, Mexico experts. I just want to be the top 25 Mexican players at the moment. And as I mentioned, it's current performances are of course going to influence those top 25 rankings. But I just want it to be, and it doesn't have to be statistical. It doesn't have to. It just who I ask. I just want them to rank who they truly believe are the top 25 players at the moment. And as I mentioned, they're subjective. There's no right or wrong answers. But I think it's just fascinating to see the results. It's fascinating to see the averages. It's just, and I think it definitely instigates a lot of conversation, discussion, which I think is definitely important. I think it's really, really great to see that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it every month. Thanks to you guys. No thanks to Wiso, since he was too busy in Costa Rica.
It's a little hard to decipher. Are these gonna come out? When does it usually come out?
So it's going to be. I usually ask everybody at the end of the month to send them in. So usually they'll come out. I assume like the first few days of every month. So I think the most recent list came out, I think, when was it? I think it was this Sunday. It was yesterday, actually. So yeah, so usually within the first few days of the month.
And so this is pretty much kind of like the Associated Press, like college football rankings, what they do. Is that in the same way that are you giving a number to the top 25? Are we vote? Is it the votes? You're giving a number? Or?
So what I do is I just take the so what I do is I ask everybody to send me their top 30 players, and what I do is if the player that they rank as first, I'll give 30 points. The player who they rank as second, I'll give 29 points, and then I add them all up in the end, and then I see which players have the most points.
Great. I think that's our college football ranking somehow, but
still technically.
Hopefully there'll be a playoff. No. Crickets. There it is. There we go. All right, great. So before we go, top 10 at least. What of all the experts? I know you, Johnny, Naive, Johnny Rico, the Colorful Kit, the Stray Goat. These sound like names. These are Twitter handles, by the way. If
actually,
you don't know.
I asked the Stray Goat, but he didn't respond to me. So it's me, Tom, Naive, Johnny, Jason, Rafael Diaz, Raul Barraza. That's one guy's from Mexican Foot, the other guy's the Colorful Kit, and then Brian W. from 3 Report.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I said sorry, I'll be joining you guys next year now, so I know Kim, so we should have a lot. So I know it's a lot of it's a lot of work for you, but thanks for you do that. So before we leave, who are at least the top 10 for this month?
So number 1 we had Carlos Vela. Number 2 we had Hector Herrera. Number 3 we had Andres Guardado. Number 4 Gio. Number 5 Chicharito. Number 6 Tecatito. Number 7 Rafa. Rafa Marquez, to be exact. Number 8 Miguel Layun. Number 9 Hector Moreno. And number 10 Jonathan Dos Santos.
Very nice. I'm sure it'll spark Layun being that high. Very nice, very nice.
So before
All right,
we head
guys.
do you want to say anything really quickly about the Liga MX?
Oh, is that starting soon? I'm just kidding. Yes.
Good games come this weekend. We got Saturday, some good ones, like out the start. So Friday's pretty much crap, Sunday's pretty much crap. But if you're going to watch any games Saturday,
Leon America.
America Leon, always going to be a good match, despite the chaos that's going to happen with those two teams a little bit here. Tigres Atlas was started last season as well, and it was a disaster of a match, but I'm hoping it's a little bit better this time. Two awesome teams to watch at any time. So Tigres Atlas and Pachuca Cruz Azul. You can't go wrong with that either. So yeah.
Cool. There you go. Anibal Zurdo scoring a hat trick, right? Is he still with the team? I don't know. I have no
he's long gone.
Oh, is he gone?
Alemão is home. Alemão is in La Noria now.
No, I'll do some research afterwards, see where Zurdo is doing. Also, one more thing before we leave. It's a little crazy here at the end. Jason's having a good time. Tomorrow will be the 1-year anniversary, very special date, of when Nery Castillo scored a brace for Rayo Vallecano against Villarreal. Yeah.
I was there. I was there. I was there. That was the only interview I had with Nery, and that was the only time he talked with the press. After that game, he never talked again because he didn't play and he didn't score.
Oh my.
He's a good guy, I think. I got to meet him. He's in Europe. Who knows where he's at right now, but Nery Castillo, if you want to come on the show, you got it. Anyways, guys, well, that's all the time we have. Over a little bit over an hour. Always fun with these guys. We'll be coming back with every Monday around this time. We might switch it up. It gets a little later for the East Coast crowd. I think we're getting to midnight now. I think so. But we'll try.
11.
Is it 11? Arizona doesn't change, so I don't know anything about daylight saving times. Who's in? It's always the same for me. And it was like that in Mexico, so I don't know clock forward or whatever, and I never researched it, so whatever. Yeah, so every Monday, as you can see, please keep joining us on the chats. Thank you to all of you guys who've joined. New faces, new handles that we see on there. But make sure you're sharing it in any way you can, and we'll keep it updated with all of the different things that happen with El Tri. Our Twitter handles, make sure you follow them, Cesar and Jason at Soccer Mexicana, Naib Moran. Thank you to all three of you, and we will see you next week. Go El Tri.